Hello, welcome to the Alone Show. I'm your host, John May Alone. In this episode, I don't have regulars because they're, as always, doing a space talk about money, finances, some old guy, but that's beyond me. As for our guest, she's from Calgary, Canada. She's a financial advisor, speaker, author of upcoming personal finance book, Make Your Money Your Thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Kalee Boisvert.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome. So, how's life?
That's a good question. um, good. I like to stay positive. So I would say really good. I'm excited. I have a lot on the go and I have two books coming out. So there are things that that I've been spending time on over the last couple years, I guess. And now they're finally coming out and being released to the public. So I'm really excited about that. So my book, Make Money Your Thing, comes out in July 11th. And then I have a kid's picture book about a little girl learning about money, and it's called Money Wise Mabel's Bursting Bank. And that comes out early September. So lots on the go. And it's just all really exciting stuff to be having these conversations and talking about money.
All right, sounds good. And what is it that got you into money and all things finance?
Yeah, great question. For me, it was really early on starting out. So, growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. I was raised by a single mom. And so, money at first was showing up as sort of the enemy in my life. So, it was, I saw it as a source of stress and struggle. And I saw kind of what that caused my mom. And for me, I seeing that, I guess it was wanting to do something about it. And so I became this like student to all things money and finances and numbers, and that just stuck with me. And did my undergraduate degree in business, focusing on finance. I've done just recent well, not recently anymore. I did an MBA then following that in finance. And I've built a business just working with women to help support them in their financial lives. So it all started really young and learning everything I could, and then realizing that there was this need for, there was more women out there that wanted this support, and women who are feeling stressed. And I think in general, like we can say a lot of people are feeling stressed about money, but that's really what I wanted to do, is just change the relationship people have with money. And so that's my goal and what I've been doing so far since then. And I love it. Like I love having the day-to-day conversations I have with new people that come my way or existing clients, and we're just breaking down, like, what are their big pain points, what's happening with their finances, what are their goals, what are they trying to achieve, and then how can we sort of break it down and get them, executing and on the way to make those big dreams possible.
All right, love it.
Yeah.
And what is exactly in the book you've written discusses in terms of finance?
It's it's pretty like general, and it's going to cover a lot of elements. So, I see it as this like what I've put together from my years being in the business and everything I've learned through, the clients I work with and what they're looking for and things like that. So I kind of see it as like, because obviously I can't work with everyone out there. I see it as, a tool for people, especially people that don't work with me but want some more support and understanding of their finances, and want to achieve their big money goals. So it starts out in the book, just talking about the like kind of the inner work, doing the inner work. So talking about, our money baggage and our money beliefs and where those kind of have come from and how they've maybe formed our relationship with money thus far, and then kind of working through some of that for people. Because some of like myself, if you grew up where it was like money was a source of struggle, and like scarcity mindset and things like that, there's often a lot of kind of unlearning you have to do, or consciously deciding, changing some of those beliefs, saying like, hey, this isn't serving me. I don't want to believe that money is scarce, that it's hard to earn money, we're going to have enough, like that. That's not what I want to keep having as my beliefs. And so it's taking people on that journey, so doing some of the inner work, remembering, the possibilities and that they can have big goals, and then taking them through the steps of just building confidence like understanding where they stand with their finances, like the money awareness piece, knowing, okay, how much do I have? Where do I want to get to? And then just kind of making that confidence as we start to like instill the confidence in the reader. Then I want them to really feel like, that it's that unshakable confidence, that it's there with them for the ups and downs. Because money, it's an ongoing part of our lives, right? So there's going to be day to day. There's going to be some days that are like, oh no, like this isn't, working, or all these expenses are coming at you and you're like, what am I supposed to do? So it's hopefully really instilling this now unshakable confidence where people feel equipped to handle, any scenario coming at them, and have that long-term relationship with money, that they are feeling empowered and inspired to take action, and that that they're in control, that money is not happening to them, but they are making conscious decisions, and getting towards where they want to get to with their money. So that's kind of the journey I take the reader on. So it's kind of like from start to finish, and it encompasses all those different areas, even from like investing, saving money, budgeting, all that sort of stuff.
Fabulous.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
Hmm. I better be retired by then. No, that's a good question. No one's really asked me, but I ask all my clients that question. Um, I really want to keep going with this, the financial education, financial literacy piece, and continue building on that, because I think there's a lot of work to be done. So hopefully it's doing some work in that regard. Like maybe it's still writing books, or maybe people aren't reading books anymore because like we've been taken over by Chat GPT or something. But maybe it's then having conversations, presenting to groups about different money concepts, whatever it is. Like I think it's this like work, this advocacy work for people and their money, and for, I guess, really making people feel good and come from a place of like possibilities. And hopefully I'm still doing that work in some form, and a way that is obviously with the times. Things change fast, so 20 years, that's going to look a lot different, I'm sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. Like a new form of technology, a new form of transportation, new anything really.
Yeah, yeah. So like the conduit of like how I'm doing it or whatnot, or how I'm sharing this information will probably be a lot different. But yeah, I think, I don't know, money or some form of currency, or what we're like, there's so much of that ingrained in our lives, that I think there's a lot more we can do. And I just really, because I grew up as someone, I grew up in poverty essentially. We didn't have a lot, and I just want for everyone to know that like that's not a cycle. It doesn't have to continue. And there's things that everyone can do no matter where they are in their journey, that they can have an like that it can be different, that it can, be what they want it to be, rather than a situation that's sort of been forced upon them because of, again, like being born into it or something like that. Like I want people to really believe that that's not something holding them back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Would you ever try space tourism?
I don't know. That's a question I've never ever been asked. I don't know for me. I'm fascinated by space, but I don't know if that's something I would do.
Hmm. All right then. But eventually, there will come a point where you could go somewhere in the universe to different planets and spend your holiday there eventually for a couple of weeks and come back to Earth and just do whatever. That could certainly be the future.
It could be. I mean, I just saw that Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and that was really fun, and they kind of just jump around to different places.
Yeah, of course. If someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
Oh. I'm thinking of something catchy. Um, Something about like, uh, the, I guess, the tenacious female that, essentially will never give up kind of thing. It's something to do with that, like how I'm someone who, I don't know, I just keep going, and I I'm always kind of coming up against things that really make me uncomfortable, but I do them anyway. And I feel like in the whole scheme of things, I'm like also this quiet, shy introvert who, doesn't really seem like the type to do some of the things I'm doing and what I love doing, which again is like, speaking to audiences and doing those things. So it has to do something with like my sort of the grit and the just ongoing like pushing myself to do the uncomfortable things and never giving up. Like I'm just one of these people that get pushed down, and there's lots that comes at me in a to day scenario or whatnot where it's just like, oh, that didn't work out well, or and maybe that's the life of an entrepreneur. But I think it's, yeah, something to do with how like I just get like knocked down a billion times but just keep getting up. So something to do with that.
All right. Sounds good. So, do you like spicy food?
I really do, yes.
Yeah,
Is there like a
same.
question to follow this? I'm worried.
I don't know. I just like spicy food, you know? I crave it.
Okay. I do like spicy food, but as I age, I feel like I cannot handle as much of the spice factor.
Ah,
So I don't know
right.
if that's a real thing or if that's just in my head.
Well, it could be a lot of things, really. But of course, with enough practice, you can build a resistance.
Yeah, so never give up on your spicy tolerance.
Yes, exactly. If there was a song for every time you entered the room, what would it be?
Mm, probably like Beyonce's Who Run the World Girls. That's the song I like to listen to.
Ah, very good.
Mhm.
Which pizza topping do you most relate to?
Um, I would say a pineapple because it's almost like it doesn't belong on a pizza, yet it tastes so good on a pizza, I think. So it's almost like this thing that you wouldn't expect to taste good or work out well, but it did. So I feel like that reminds me of myself.
Ah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have to choose between skydiving, bungee jumping, or scuba diving, which one would you choose?
Scuba diving for sure. Because I'm scared of heights, so the other two just sound terrifying.
Ah, that makes sense. It's a
Yes.
very popular option.
Yes. Okay.
What is the one thing you can't live without?
I would say French fries. I mean, I would say like my kids, of course. Like I love my kids and they're the most special thing in my life. But like if I'm thinking of something just personal preference wise, I would say French fries. I am like a French fry addict.
Okay. Yeah, I like French fries too.
So never have a world without French fries.
Exactly. There's always got to be something that gives you joy in food
Yes.
form. How much time do you spend on the internet?
Oh, geez. I hope not too much. Probably a lot. Are we talking, okay, if you're on social media, does that count as the internet, right? Of course. Yeah.
Yes, it does, yeah.
Okay. So probably a lot because my work I'm on it for, like whether it's like researching different things and then whether it's like posting about topics and things I'm talking about, and then of course just like personal scrolling through, those lovely black holes of watching TikTok or something like that. Oh, that's a terrible question. Probably too much. Too much time.
Yes, especially those TikTokers.
I don't watch it as much anymore, but when I first discovered it, I was definitely intrigued.
Yeah, probably for the best.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a question from the top of my head.
Okay.
Have you ever thought about living in like one of the tallest buildings in existence and living on the very top floor of it and enjoying the vast amount of views?
No, not at all. Because again, like heights just make me so nervous. So no, that sounds awful. I'd
Yeah,
rather live on the ground floor.
yeah, good choice. I wouldn't go there either.
No.
Would you rather be able to breathe underwater or have the agility of a cat?
Oh, I'm feeling like we're getting into like superhero power scenarios and stuff. Um,
Oh,
I would
yes.
say breathe underwater. I was told by like a psychic person that in my previous life I was a mermaid, and so I feel very connected to the underwater.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If your life was a meal, what kind of meal would it be?
I don't know. Maybe something like sushi? But I don't know why, but I just think sushi is delicious, and there's a lot of variety.
Oh, yes. Sushi's delicious and way various.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that.
Fabulous. What's something you tried really hard to like, but you couldn't?
Um, I guess this is like okay, I'll go more like generic. So for me, it was like pushing myself to be more of like an extrovert because I think what I was finding time and time again is like I was feeling maybe what was holding me back was being a quiet person and who's reserved and whatnot. So I feel like I tried to constantly push myself to be an extrovert, thinking that like that's the way to success and that's how I'm going to be able to do the things that I want to accomplish and whatnot. And I feel like that didn't work well because it just didn't feel right for me. And so when COVID hit and we kind of had to stay indoors and I got to kind of reconnect, I think, with like my inner self and where I thrive and just being okay who I am and trying to like stop forcing myself, to think that there is this ideal personality or way to be that's going to be better than something else. So I mean, I think that could be said with a lot of stuff about ourselves, like thinking that certain qualities are not as appealing or whatnot to people, but realizing that that's okay. And again, like I think some of our differences are our biggest strengths. So not thinking that I had to be that certain personality type anymore. So I tried it, didn't feel great. It felt like I was constantly, almost trying to be someone else. And that's a lot of work. So just getting back to me and kind of going inward and saying, hey, this is what I am like, and that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
If you could eat only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
French fries for sure.
Of course.
My
And you,
daughter has already asked me that question before. So,
yeah,
yes.
makes a lot of sense. If you were hosting a dinner party and could invite anyone you wanted, that is either alive or dead, what five people would you invite?
Oh goodness, 5. Okay, I feel like it should be some like very empowering kind of like woman coming together. So like Oprah and Beyonce and Taylor Swift, Chelsea Handler. I'm a big fan of her and she's very funny. Um, who gets the other spot? Oh my gosh. Oh, I'll just throw in someone else that I like. So Jason Momoa, just because he's so attractive. So like a female empowerment, but then obviously I have to throw in my celebrity crush. Is that okay?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's
I think so.
that's quality, that is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I love it. If you could travel to any, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
That's a great question. I feel like I need to do more traveling to really uncover what that would be, but I'm a big fan of like being near the ocean. So I think it would have to be near some sort of like body of water or the ocean. Like I find it energetically being near water, it's so nice like for our soul. It feels like it's like replenishing or something and really like helps clear our energy. So I think it would be something near water.
Hmm,
Somewhere near water.
yeah, we all love water.
I do. Do you love
Yeah,
water?
yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's the cleanest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It is, yeah, when you get like near very clear water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite ice cream topping?
Uh, I don't know if it's like a topping, but like I would say cookie dough ice cream. So if it's like blended in or on top, but cookie dough, yes.
Yes. Cookie is the best, especially in dough form.
Yes, the uncooked version of cookies is so good.
Oh, yes. When things break, would you rather fix them or replace them?
Hmm. Does this like mean something about someone, the answer to this question? I feel like I would replace them because it's easier. And so I'm all about ease and efficiency because if it breaks, it means there's a good chance it's probably going to break again. And I'll probably get frustrated along the way at some point. So I feel like new is better.
I could, yeah, of course. What was the last book you've read?
One of the Colleen Hoover books. So it was It Ends With Us.
Hmm,
Very much like influenced by like book talk, and it was always like coming up on there. I would give them a try, and they actually are very, like, addicting books to be reading. Just like a nice, easy read.
all right then. I like it. Have you ever experienced any paranormal activities?
No, I have not, but it would be interesting.
Oh, yes, it sure will be.
Have you ever experienced paranormal activity?
Oh, yes, many times.
Oh, okay.
Mainly in the
You're one
mind,
of
but yeah.
you're
But
one of the lucky chosen ones then, I guess.
oh, yes, of course. Would you rather be transported 500 years into the future or 500 years into the past?
The future for sure. Because I think, like, especially as women, going 500 years backward will be like I wouldn't be able to handle it because already as a woman, I feel like we're, like, behind on things, and that the whole women-men equality has to catch up, so going back 500 years, I would probably just, like, be so alarmed with what it was like back then, so I'll have to say ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And just, like, the luxuries of, like, obviously running water and heat and all that. Very
Oh, yeah.
appreciative for those
Oh,
things,
yes,
yeah.
of course. Yeah. What is the best way to start the morning?
Um, so I would say it's definitely not looking at your phone and checking emails and stuff like that, which I think a lot of us are in the trap or the cycle to do. So if possible, starting with a meditation by far is the best way, and I've experimented with doing both, and I find, like, the whole day is different when you can just not start browsing through your phone the minute you wake up, but do some sort of breathing exercise or guided meditation. It's game changer.
Hmm. All right then. What could you give a 40-minute presentation on without any preparation?
Money. Just
That makes
anything to do
sense.
with money. We
Oh,
could talk
yes.
about investing, we could talk about budgeting, saving money, all sorts of things. Planning, financial planning, planning for your future, money mindset, money beliefs. Yeah, for sure.
All right then. And this is another.
Otherwise, though, outside of the money realm, I would say something about the Real Housewives. I have like a Real Housewives addiction. So, anyone that wants to learn about the Real Housewives of anywhere, I could do a lot of presenting on that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's even a good talent to have or to admit to, but it's
Uh,
something I do really well.
If you have international knowledge, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I would love to know about that. Yeah,
Okay.
cool. What kind of music do you often listen to?
Um, I like, I would say like, okay, well, okay. What I actually often listen to is Disney music because I have kids. So that's like the reality of my life. But, and actually, I'll be honest, I kind of like it. It's fun. But when I'm picking and they're not around, it's usually like, I don't know, something along the lines of like R&B, hip hop kind of thing.
Ah, fabulous. Hmm. Oh, yes. What would be the first thing you'd do if you won the lottery?
That's a great question, and I feel like I should be able to give good advice on this as a money person. So I would really sit down and think about, what my goals are and kind of how to allocate it accordingly. So I'd probably want to do something quickly that's fun, like go on a little vacation to a vacation to somewhere that I've been wanting to go to or something like that and obviously, make it fun and stay at a nice place and stuff like that. But then get to planning on understanding how much if I'm putting it towards long-term savings and investing and all that fun stuff because of course I don't want to be I'm the money person, so that's of course what I think of is just being smart with it. But obviously the stat of how people like that win the lottery and it just they blow it or they're basically in the same position a couple years later is really frightening. So it's just, some diligent planning, I think, goes a long way.
Oh, yes, of course. Who is the funniest person you've met?
I think Chelsea Handler, and technically I haven't met her. She's just a comedian, but I've gone to her shows. So I feel like in theory, and front row. So it's almost like I met her, but I think she's a really funny comedian. I like her stuff.
Yeah,
And
okay,
her
that's
books
cool.
too. Her books are a lot of fun too.
Ah, also an author. Fantastic. If you could use magic to do any boring task for the rest of your life, what would it be?
To do a boring task?
Oh, yes.
Probably like answer my emails. Could it do that? Is it smart enough?
Well, yes, because it's pretty boring doing emails. So yeah, that's pretty genius to like work around that.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like it's so much of our lives now is like answering emails. And so if someone could take that off my plate, that would be sweet.
Yes, you can now focus on whatever else goes on in your life.
Yeah, the good stuff. More time for the good stuff.
Ah, yes. What is your favorite holiday tradition?
Um, I think just the idea, like the whole gathering of family and loved ones, like I think just coming together because it's just like obviously an occasion that brings together people. And people are busy in their day-to-day lives, so oftentimes we don't get to have that like dedicated time with those people on a as often basis. So the fact that family oftentimes like or at least in my experience comes together on holidays and whatnot is probably the best part. It's lots of fun.
Fantastic. If you could create your own job title, what would it be?
I would just say I would probably just do more with like money mentor versus like I mean my title now is financial advisor, which is a bit boring. But I would like to think of myself, as someone who supports and helps people with their money and that's really what we do. So I think of mentor as mentor just seems so much like people that can have a positive, like life-changing impact. And I think with the work I do and the processes we go through and stuff with clients, like that is the reality. And we get to learn so much about people's lives and get to be there and support them all along the way. So it feels like more like that idea of a mentorship role feels a lot better.
Great. If you could travel back in time, what decade would you want to live in?
Hmm. Not too far back. Maybe like be in the 80s. I was born in the 80s, but I was really young. So maybe like be in the 80s, but be like a bit older so I could have like the crazy hair and stuff and like dance to the music and all that.
Yes, we all love
Instead
that.
of just yeah, I didn't have enough hair to do like the whole hairspray and all that fun stuff. I was too young.
Yeah. Well, that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you here, Kaylee, talking about your experience in finance and, well, a lot of other things. It's been fabulous.
Thank you. A lot of other things for sure.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Thank you
And
for having me.
you're welcome. And until next time, stay tuned for more.